Chess.com has over 100 versions of chess that you can play, but I want to find out which one is actually the best. So I'm going to play every single one, from the simplest to the weirdest to the most insane variants I've ever seen, to answer that question.
Starting off with normal chess because this is technically one of the variants. Alright, in our first game, we're already playing an International Master. That's not a healthy start.
And while I play this first game, my goal is to get a win in every single variant on Chess.com. And even though I was playing an International Master in my first match, I think it was having some technical difficulties because he was literally just letting all his time run out.
He has like 8 seconds. There's no way I can lose this, right? Easy win. Hey, I technically beat an International Master.
Next, we have Chess 960, which is just normal chess except with different starting positions. This variant is actually pretty fun, and even though I'm not the best at it, I still managed to win my first game.
And there it is, we get the easy victory.
Next up is King of the Hill, where your only goal is to get your king to the center of the board. And yep, that's it.
I think we are slightly winning. We're definitely winning on time. He only has like 30 seconds left.
This game wasn't really the most exciting, and I ended up just winning on time again.
There we go, we won on time.
But don't worry, because right now we're just getting through all the easy variants and working our way up to the harder and more insane ones later on. And this next variant is actually a pretty fun one.
Alright, we got 3 check. Basically, the first person to put the opponent in check 3 times wins.
I thought I was actually pretty good at this variant, but just a couple moves in, I had already lost a life.
Alright, see, I only have 2 lives left. Okay, we need to kind of focus here.
Luckily though, I managed to come back later in the game with some 2 billion IQ tactics.
Alright, we're getting 1 check. Okay, wait, we get another check. This is what we like to see in our lives. I have a plan here. Bing, queen can check right here. And there it is. I mean, he's 1730.
Somehow I managed to actually beat a 1700 rated player, but now it was time to move on to the intermediate level chess variants, which a lot of them you've probably never even seen before. Starting off with Petrified Chess, where every piece besides pawns turns into a stone when they take another piece, and they kind of just stay like that for the entire game. This was the first time I had actually played this variant, so I didn't really know what was going on that much.
Okay, so if I take this, now the knight is just stuck there forever? Can I take a stone piece? I cannot. Interesting.
I kept playing and thought I was actually understanding how this variant worked, until this happened.
It's the whole time. Okay, what is that, though? What is going on?
Apparently you can move your pawn sideways for some reason, and I tried to emotionally recover from this unholy sight, but I just ended up losing my rook.
Alright, I'm resigning this. There's no way I can win.
I was a little depressed about that loss, but since this wasn't even a difficult level variant, I knew I couldn't let this one loss stop me, and I had to win this next game.
Alright, let's actually try to win this here, because that last game was slightly disturbing.
I was prepared for this to be a difficult match, until this happened.
Okay, nice. He just blundered his queen. Now it can never move ever in the history of mankind.
My opponent was definitely having some mental errors because only like 20 moves into the game, I managed to solidify all of his major pieces, and now I could just violate his king with all my able-bodied pieces.
We are definitely winning this, 100%.
And since kings can't capture this variant, I basically just chased his king all around the board with my queen until I found the checkmate.
There we go. Easy checkmate, easy win. I don't really like this variant.
And even though I didn't like this variant, the next one I had actually dreaded playing.
Alright, next we have Blindfold Chess. I despise this variant with my whole heart. I do not want to play this.
For those of you who don't know, this is the same as normal chess, except all the pieces are invisible, so you have to keep track of everything in your head.
Alright, we are the white pieces. I literally cannot see any pieces. This is a little bit concerning. I'm just going to try the 4-move checkmate because, you know, just hopefully he falls for that.
My plan was to try the Scholar's Mate on this guy and just hope and pray that he didn't see my plans.
His knight is here. He just took my pawn. Nice, okay.
I was already down a pawn in the first 3 moves of the game, so if this checkmate didn't work, I would probably just resign from life.
Now this is the checkmate. Hopefully he doesn't see it. Wait, did we just get the 4-move check? Wait a sec. Yes! Oh my goodness gracious.
By some miraculousness, this checkmate has somehow worked and I could already move on to the next variant, which would end up being one of my favorite ones for this entire video.
Okay, next, you've probably never seen this before, is Setup Chess.
And how this works is each player gets 39 points to set up any starting position they want. These are the point values of each piece, so you have to be smart about how you spend your points on your pieces.
So I'm pretty sure knights are going to be really good for this, so I'm just going to spend all my points on knights and see what happens.
My opponent decided to spend all of his points on queens, and now couldn't really afford anything else. But I decided just to buy a bunch of knights and pawns, since knights are pretty cheap and actually really useful in a real game.
Now we play out the game, and I have a lot of knights here.
I was pretty confident in my chances of winning since my opponent only had a few pieces to his name, but I had a pretty intimidating roster of knights and pawns.
Listen, spending all your points on queens is an amateur mistake. I can already tell that, even though this is the first time I've played this variant.
And after literally like 5 moves later, my opponent decided he had had enough of this game.
I think this guy just gave up on all hopes of life and liberty. Easy victory? Easiest victory of my life. I kind of want to play that more. That seems pretty fun.
I wish I could have played more of that game, but I had to move on to the next variant, which was elimination chess. And before I play the next variant, this channel is growing super fast, so if you want to be here before we reach 100,000 subscribers, go ahead and subscribe so that you can say you were here before 100k. But back to the video.
Your goal is to just eliminate all of your opponent's pieces until there's only one piece left, then you win. And captures are compulsory, so you have to capture a piece when you can.
And while I play this opening here, you've probably noticed that I'm not playing certain variants, and that's because I've already beaten them in previous videos. In this one, I'm just finishing off all the other ones that I haven't played before, including some later that will make you realize why I haven't played them until now. But back to the game.
Wait, I think I could just win this here. Hold on. Okay, we get his king. So now we just need to capture all his pieces besides one.
Honestly, I thought this variant would be a lot more difficult, but it wasn't long until all of my opponent's pieces were captured.
And yeah, we just win here. Alright, easy win. Easy win.
Next up, we have Rookmate, where only goal is to checkmate your opponent's rook. Yeah, that's a variant for some reason. And this 7 on the rook means that if your rook gets put in check 7 times, you lose. I honestly thought this would be a pretty weird variant, but me and my opponent were playing this the exact same as a normal chess game. I tried to push pawns on my king side to get an attack on his rook since I didn't really know what else to do, but before we could even get into an endgame, my opponent decided that his queen didn't deserve life anymore and sacrificed her for no reason. And then he just resigned the game. But that was all for the intermediate level variants. Now we're getting into some of the most difficult and insane variants that I've ever seen. Starting things off with Euler's Game, where the goal is to get your rook, which is basically your king, to the center of the board, and the first person to do so wins. And also your rook can only be put in check 7 times before it dies. There's some strange pieces like these knight hybrid pieces, and this grasshopper piece, which can basically move anywhere, but it has to hop over something in order to do so. But now that we got the rules out of the way, I realized that there was only one path for my rook to go to the center, and in order to get there safely, I had to take out a bunch of the blue pieces. So that was my plan for this game. And while I try to do this, you may notice that this board resembles a certain shape popularized by a certain man in Germany. But listen, this is an official chess variant, okay? I did not make this, chess.com did. But back to the game. I was able to clear out most of blue's pieces, so now my plan was just to bring my rook to the center of the board and win the game. I didn't have to worry about the blue pieces anymore, but there was still a problem. Green was controlling a large portion of the center, so my rook could not get there safely. I decided that my best plan was just to trade off my pieces with green. I wouldn't have that many pieces left, but my rook should be able to get to the center safely. I moved my rook up and I was 1 move away from the center. I just needed green to take my queen and I would get the victory royale. And that's all I needed to win the game.
I win that game. First place victory royale.
Next was Saturn's Rings, where your king is this piece, which can move like a rook, but only 1 square at a time. And if put in check 4 times, you lose the game. We also got the camel piece, which is basically just a knight on steroids, a camel combined with a knight, and this dragon bishop, which can move like a knight and a bishop, but can't jump over any pieces. Now, right when I saw this board layout, I realized that if I could get my rook on this outer ring here, I could just attack my opponent's king piece pretty easily. So that was my plan for the game. The only issue here was I had to maneuver all my pieces out of the way in order to get my rook there, which meant bringing my king piece out into danger. Luckily though, nothing too dangerous seemed to be happening and my plan was actually going really well. I put their king in check, but then remembered that the king wasn't actually the king in this variant, so taking it would do nothing. I continued on with my plan and got my rook on the file I wanted him on. And now there's basically nothing my opponent could do. I put him in check and now he only had 3 more checks before he lost the game. I used my grasshopper piece to put him in check again. Since this piece can only attack by jumping over things, I was technically attacking him since it could jump over this empty space. He blocked with his bishop since the grasshopper can't jump over 2 pieces, and I thought my attack was over. But just a couple moves later, he blundered the game away.
Yes. We were totally losing that, but we came back.
But if you thought any of those variants were hard to understand, they're nothing compared to this last one. This is the X of tricks, where nothing makes sense, nobody knows what's going on, and for some reason there's these weird gray pieces that don't do anything. I'm not even going to pretend like I knew what was going on, but from playing the previous variants I could conclude that this bishop thing here was our king, and if we were put in check 7 times or our king was captured, we would lose. So I began by moving this pawn thing forward and discovered that you could promote to whatever this thing is. I was trying to figure out a plan of how to attack his bishop king thing and managed to actually take away one of his lives with this check. But that may have not been a good idea because now I was down a piece and my opponent started attacking me violently. Every single move, one of my lives was being taken away, and my bishop king thing was in a lot of danger. I managed to take away 2 more lives from my opponent's bishop king, but now it was just down a bunch of material, and I thought I was lost. My bishop king was now down to 2 lives, and out of desperation, I just put my opponent in check, and he pre-move blundered.
Yes. Oh my goodness gracious, bro.
Somehow I had won that variant, and with that I had beaten every single variant on chess.com. And if you're wondering why I skipped a bunch of variants, it's because a lot of these variants are just copies of each other with 1 or 2 small changes, and personally I don't consider those to be new or different variants.